لله الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه واستغفره وأؤمن به جل وعلا ولا أكفره وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله ولو كره المشركون. All praise belongs to Allah. We praise Him, we seek His help, His assistance, and His guidance. We believe in Him and do not disbelieve in Him. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah. Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is a servant and messenger. Allah sent him, that is Muhammad, with Deen al-Haq, the religion, the way, the methodology of truth. This way of life known as Islam will rise to its proper position in this world, whether the mushriks like it or not. Amma ba'd, فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وأوضاع الأولى كلمة التقوى وخير الملال ملة إبراهيم وخير السنن سنة محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وأشرف الحديث ذكر الله والأحسن والقصاص هذا القرآن وخير الأمور أوزنوها وشر الأمور محدثاتها وأحسن الهدي هدي الأنبياء وأشرف الموت كتم الشهداء وأما علامة دلالة بعد الهدى وخير الأعمال ما نفاء وخير الهادي ما اتباع وشر الأمة أما الكعب. Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said the most truthful of discourses is Kitabullah, or the Book of Allah. The most trustworthy word is taqwa, or the fear of Allah. The best of the community is the community of Prophet Ibrahim. The best way of life is the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The remembrance of Allah is the most glorious of all things. The best of all narrations is Quran. The best acts are those requiring the highest degree of will and determination. Worst acts are those based on innovation. The best way of life is the one adopted by the prophets of Allah. The most glorious death is the death of the martyr. The most wretched blindness consists of going astray after finding the right way. Best acts are the ones that yield benefits. Best guidance is that which people may be able to follow. The worst blindness is the blindness of the heart. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Inna Allah yahmuru bil-adli wal-ihsani wa-ita'i bil-qurba wa-yanha bil-fashai wal-munkari wal-baghi ya'idhakum la'alakum tadhakkarun. Allah commands justice, the doing of good, and the brotherly to kith and kin. He forbids all shameful deeds and injustice and rebellion. He instructs you that you may receive admonition. فَمَنْ يُرِيدِ اللَّهُ أَنْ يَهْدِيَهُ يَشْرَحْ صَدْرَهُ لِلْإِسْلَامِ. Those whom Allah in His plan will to guide, He opened their breast to Islam. يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ حَقَّ تُقَاتِهِ وَلَا تَمُوتُنَّ إِلَّا وَأَنْتُمْ مُسْلِمُونَ. O you believe, fear Allah as He should be feared, and do not die except in the state of Islam. وَأَتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. And hold fast all together by the rope which Allah stretches out for you, and be not divided amongst yourselves. كنتم خير أمات أخرجت للناس تأمرون بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر وتؤمنون بالله. You are the best of peoples, evolved for mankind, enjoining what is right, forbidding what is wrong, and believing in Allah. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله نحمده واستعينه سبحانه. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على خير المرسلين محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد، يقول الله تعالى في القرآن الكريم: إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا مولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أذين للذين يقاتلون بأنهم ظلموا وإن الله على نصرهم لقادر. To those whom war is made, permission is given to fight because they are wrong. And verily Allah is most powerful for their aid. It goes on to say by the English meaning, they are those who have been expelled from their homes in defiance of right, for no cause except that they say our Lord is Allah. Had not Allah checked one set of people by means of another, there would surely have been pulled down monasteries, churches, synagogues, and mosques in which the name of Allah is commemorated in abundant measure. Allah will certainly aid those who aid His cause. For verily Allah is full of strength, exalted in might, able to enforce His will. الذين إن مكناهم في الأرض أقاموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة وأمروا بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر وتؤمنون بالله والله عقيبة الأمور. They are those who, if we establish them in the land, establish regular salat, give regular charity, join the right and forbid the wrong, with Allah rests the end and decision of all affairs. I read these few ayats, which is the basis of the khutbah today, because the Muslims find themselves in a very precarious position. In Europe, they're passing laws that say that you can't put a star and a crescent on a masjid. In Europe, in certain parts of Europe, they're in open hostility to Islam. In America, we see what we have here today. We have just in New Zealand over 50 people killed by deranged personality. In Africa, we have African. We have Libya has been destroyed, and it's in the second stages of civil war. We have Syria that was almost destroyed, but technically it was destroyed. It'll take decades to rebuild Syria to where it belongs. We have Yemen right now that's been been laid waste. Schools, hospitals, even Masjid, everything that you can imagine, all the waterworks, all the infrastructure has been destroyed. It's all done with American bombs, British bombs, and they use, can you imagine the U.S. is giving them satellite imagery in order to direct their bombings, and it ain't nothing in there to bomb. In Afghanistan, they've been there so long as 17, 18 years. They've been in Afghanistan. So long as war in U.S. history. And there's no sign of relief or change. And what had brought all this to the surface was this Sunday, Easter Sunday of all Sundays. There was these bombings in Sri Lanka. Now, I've been in Sri Lanka many times, probably 10 times, and I've spoken there, so I have a little background in the country, but I'd like to just show you a few of the pictures. The Muslims are fleeing. They're actually just getting up and running off and leaving certain areas. Well, let me explain Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka ethnically is Indian. You see they wear saris and everything like that. But they're not Hindus, they're Buddhists. But you have about 7% Christian and about 7% Muslims. And there's been a nice harmony. In fact, that would be the basis of most of our talks, especially on radio and what have you, is that we would be talking about Christian and Muslim and Buddhist unity and friendship. Because remember, we got a unique thing, right? We're here in America, and most of our relatives are Christian, so we have a little knick-knack now and then, but we get along very well compared to the rest of the world. You don't hear of any Muslim strife or bombings, because most of us are African American. Now, with other immigrants, they might have some tension. They might be afraid, but we are not afraid here in the Southeast. Ain't nobody gonna come do nothing to us. Why? Because we have a background, we have a history, and we have experience with this. Okay. They even beat my kids, Muslims face backlash from Christians. This is, well, why could this happen? Why does it happen? Residents in capital come into terms with the shattering of a hard-won peace. It's a map of Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka up to a decade or so ago was involved in bombings and killings, and many of you have heard of the Tamil Tigers. The Tamils, the Tamil Tigers, they were fighting for independence. Sri Lanka Muslim, by the way, Sri Lanka used to be called Ceylon. And that English statement, serendipity, is so beautiful that the term serendipity comes from there. That's how beautiful Ceylon or Sri Lanka is. The elephant orphanage is there. Just imagine they got a big place, an orphanage for elephants and things. Sri Lanka Muslims fear revenge attack over Easter bombing. Okay. What I mean to get to today is, who is doing all this bombing? You know, what about the people of Palestine? What about the people of the Muslim world? Now, how could someone be so devious and long range in their strategy, with the money, with the background, and with all the fitna in their heart to fix it in this world so that the world hates Muslims, or the world is neutral when it comes to killing, raping, and murder of Muslims. Now that's not the whole world, because that lady in Australia, the Prime Minister, the President, whoever she is, she had a good response. So she said, this ain't us. And so that was a good response when the Muslims were attacked. But I want you to just look at the newspaper, and I want you to understand, what is it and who is it? And what background do these people have? The reason I started with these ayats, look right here what it says. Those whom against war is made, permission is given to fight because they are wrong. And verily Allah is most powerful for their aid. They have Palestine as open-air prisons. Netanyahu has went so crazy, it's unbelievable. But the Israelis is the only country in the world that can occupy a country for over 50 years. They occupied Palestine for over 50 years. They enforce the law. They control the electricity. They control the water. They control the movements. And then they tell them, if you stand up for yourself, we're going to slaughter you even more. And they do it in the public. And nobody says anything. But the Quran says that permission is given to those people to fight because they have been wronged or because they have been expelled from their land. For no reason that they just say La ilaha illallah. There's no other reason that these people are being expelled from their lands. The great world migration that's going on, the migration from Syria to Europe, going through what? Through Libya. Under Gaddafi, no matter whatever you say, Libya was stable. Gaddafi had $34 billion in gold. They came over and took that. You think the so-called rebels got that gold? No. The West came and took the man's gold, the people's gold. He was known as the King of Africa. It was half jokingly, but in Chad and other countries, he gave for radio network communications, he gave him money for all that stuff. Libya did, if you was a nationalist, you was fine with Gaddafi. Black nationalists, Arab nationalists, but if you were a Muslim, you had a little trouble with him and his green book. Yeah, him and his green book. You said the Quran was all right, but the Hadith was fairy tales. And since Chairman Mao had a red book and he wrote a green book. We won't go into that, but what we'll stick with is this. How is it that the United States of America, European powers, France, are all back in Africa in their original colonial face? The French are back in Africa in their original colonial phase. Why? Because if you look at who benefits from all of this fitna, you have the CIA, you have these international cartels of criminals. Their goal is to do exactly what you see, to keep war going everywhere all the time. Why war? Why? Who gains from war? If you look at Libya, who gains from war? The military-industrial complex. If you look at Afghanistan, all the weaponry, they got it parked for miles over there. They can't even use it. But that weaponry is paid for by U.S. taxes. And that weaponry is made very expensive. offensively in the defense plants or the offensive plants in America. So the British, the Americans, make all of that money from what? War. If we're at peace, they don't make no money. Now, if they have the apparatuses all over the world, and they could start conflict after conflict year in and year out, and they're going to make money off of it, well, is the CIA going to be beholden to us, the citizen, or is the CIA going to make their masters money? Can you imagine the money that the military-industrial complex make? You know, in 1960, the last speech that Eisenhower made, he was a 5-star general. In U.S. history, there was only 2 or 3. MacArthur was one, and Eisenhower was another in the European theater. He said, beware of the military-industrial complex. Right? That means a standing army, a standing military. Before, in the 30s and 40s, early, they didn't have these military-industrial complexes. There was no strong military. If there was no war, they might have 100,000 people in the army, that's all. But after that, they were up into the millions. All of them had to be armed. All of the so-called Cold War. Look at all the missiles and all the money spent on weaponry. And if the CIA got agents all over the world, right? They've bought this general, they bought colonels, they bought all of these. Everywhere you see trouble, right now, you go and you can tell who did it. The U.S. is supposed to be strong for unity of countries, no breakup of countries. They wasn't like that with the Sudan. The U.S. built up all that foolishness and to break off the Sudan in the north from Sudan in the south. And the people that just stopped fighting last week, and they'll be back fighting again in the south. But 75% of Sudan's oil is in the south. In Africa, we always said that Sudan was the breadbasket of Africa. That big, huge country, man, if it produced wheat and grain like it could do that. The Nile runs right through there. In fact, the White Nile and the Blue Nile meet in Khartoum. That's where they meet. The one from Ethiopia and the one from Lake Victoria. Those 2 big rivers meet right there in Khartoum. But they can never develop their full potential. Why? Because every time they get ready to go somewhere, the United States of America causes some trouble. This is true all over the poorer part of the world. It don't happen to the Europeans. It don't happen to others. But the minute someone in Hugo Chavez starts standing up for the people of Latin America, pretty soon he's got cancer and he's dead, and they haven't lightened up on Venezuela since he died. They got a new dictator down in Brazil. The rebels who was fighting in Colombia been subdued 3 years ago. I'm telling you, there is no such thing as freedom in the world today. Now, it just so happens that the target for this period of time is the Muslims. That's why all over the world, the day-to-day wars, if there's 10 or 11 wars going on, 9 of them are in Muslim areas or more. Who's doing all of this? Now remember, What does the Quran say about the environmental circumstances we're living in? They are those who have been expelled from their homes in defiance of right, for no cause except that they say, "Our Lord is Allah." Had not Allah checked one set of people by means of another, there would surely have been pulled down monasteries, churches, synagogues, and mosques in which the name of Allah is commemorated. So what's that telling us? Homes would have been destroyed. Diyar, who did not, demolished, wrecked, destroyed. Sawami, cloisters, hermitages, monasteries. Bi'ah, synagogues, churches. All of these institutions, they are mentioned by name. What does that mean if Allah didn't want to check one people by means of another? It's prohibited for Muslims to burn down a church. It's prohibited. The Quran, only an idiot that don't have no, I don't want to get on these people, but these idiots, these criminals who are blowing up people all over the world and blaming it on us. Right? They blaming it on the Muslims. We don't have nothing to do with it. You see in the newspaper, the Muslims have signs saying, we love everybody. That's what they got signs everywhere. We don't have nothing against the Christian, and the Christian is and the Yahoo is Al-Kitab, the people of the book. We got guidelines about neighbors who are Muslims, who are Christians, who are Jews. We have hadith that are designed to give us the pattern of behavior of how we're supposed to treat each other. But look what they're doing. It says, if Allah didn't check one people by means of another, if Allah didn't prevent these people, there would be surely have been pulled down monasteries, churches, hermitages, synagogues, and mosques in which the name of Allah is commemorated in abundant measure. Allah will certainly aid those who aid his cause, for Allah is full of strength, exalted in might, able to enforce his will. You know, what we're leading to is a big job. Somebody got to take up the job of supporting the Muslims all over the world. You know, there's a corner belief that we have that Islam is developing here, because as Islam develops here, just like they send all kind of missionary people all over the world, and in the very near future, if we came from somewhere in Africa, somewhere in Europe, somewhere in Asia, their representative will be able to go back to those places, make friends in harmony with those people that they came from, speaking the same language. If they Malays, they'll be able to go right back to Malaysia. And they'll be able to tell all the Malaysian people, hey, there's a mean old joke over there. Boss man is causing all of the trouble. Just visualize that. Muslims from America going to the rest of the Muslim world that is in chaos, that is in turmoil, and is too sad to watch the news. To tell all the people first, we with you. We come from you. But then to tell the minorities there, all over the world, look, we don't have nothing to do with these bombings, these murders, these killings, right? Who did it then? Who's doing it? If you remember the Triangle of Terror, the Triangle of Terror is the same crew, Saudi Arabia, the United States of America, and the Zionists. They are the enemies of God and man. All over the world, every bit of fitna that you see comes from them. I don't mean to make you uncomfortable being here, but look, this is all true. It don't have nothing to do with whether you like it or not, right? What we say coming from the front page of the newspaper, Muslims move in fear. It's not just the Muslims. The northern migration from the south. Why everybody want to move here from Latin America? Why? It's because, right, all the resources down there, the United States steal and send it up here. So all the money is up here. They steal it from down there. That's why they know jobs down there. The people are smart. The people are, you know, if you look at the people of Pakistan, Bangladesh, South America, I was watching some of the brothers from Nigeria, we throw old tires away, right? Tell the truth. The brothers in Nigeria say, stick your foot on that, and they cut your foot size out, them old tires, put a strap on them boys, and you got you some nice, you know what I mean, sandals. Over here, you pay $25 or $30. They be so good, you might pay $50. They might last forever because they made out of tire, old tires. We throw old tires away, isn't that right? I don't care. You look at the people of Pakistan, Bangladesh, they be using stuff to get by. You don't even think of it. Like in some countries, they don't even have junkyards. They don't have no junkyards because all the stuff they driving is junk. I'm not making fun of nobody, right? But they don't have huge junkyards. I'm talking about even this Mexico or a few more places. They might have a few, but they ain't got no junkyards hardly. Because they make everything work. They squeeze every drop of water and blood and vinegar out of whatever it is they have because they have to. And we sitting over here so puffed up. People is puffed up with their belly sticking out, and we walking down the street weighing 600 or 700 pounds. You don't think it's nothing? You know how much the famous fat lady at the circus used to weigh? Dolly Dimples was her name. She weighed 400 pounds. How many ladies weigh for? If you see a 400-pound sister today, you won't even look a second look. Tell the truth. At least 3. I'm just saying, it's just overuse. It's overuse, it's ridiculous. We tell the people overseas, we say in America, the skinny people are rich and the fat people are poor. It's true, isn't it? Tell the truth. The McDonald's eaters, all they got to do is eat one burger with 10 pounds of salt in it and all this juiced up stuff, and you puffed up. You don't have to, but if you eat salads, this, that, and other, you're going to be fine. It's natural. Anyway, we're going to move toward a close. That is to say, our Lord is Allah. Had not Allah checked one set of people by means of another, there would surely have been pulled down monasteries, churches, synagogues, and mosques in which Allah's name is commemorated. They are those, if we establish them in the land. Qamati salat wa ata zakat. Amar bil maruf wa nahy anil munkar. They establish salat, they give zakat, and they enjoin the right and forbid the wrong. Is what we're seeing is wrong? Why can't the Muslims get any sympathy in the world? It's because somebody go and blow up their church. And all the bombers leave a calling card. I don't have time to show you. But they leave videos. And they do everything that makes sure you know these are the misguided, highly paid, so-called Muslims bombing and killing and destroying your children and your life. So they make a video. The FBI was here the other day, and I said, man, I said, you think the Muslims are doing all this stuff? I said, the Muslims ain't doing, I said, 85% of this stuff y'all doing. I don't know. I said, no, that's the way it is. 85% of the fitna going on in the world, you started it. I said, do you think all of our groups are 1,000% infiltrated by tattletales, stool pigeons, and snitches? Do you think you can put a site on the website and say, come over and join us? ISIS or Daesh, right? Come over and join us. I told her, I said, if you got 1,000 people, 900 of them would be the police. 900. They'd be FBI, CIA, everybody would flood. There ain't no way in the world you're going to put up something, right? Can you start a Black Lives Matter? How many people belong to Black Lives Matter? It was 1,900 of them are the police. I've seen them with my own eyes come right into D.C., then go right down to Ferguson and start fitting. That's why the people of Ferguson were saying, hey, we don't want no outsiders coming here, right? We know what we want to do here in Ferguson. Who was the outsiders? New Yorkers, snitches, to go down there to get them people killed, to divert them. So you can't make no group here that the United States don't want you to have, and you're not infiltrated. So I told her fair, I said, yeah, y'all infiltrate everybody. I said, who's all these bombers? I said, the ones in Europe, they leave their ID card on the front seat. They leave their ID card, they leave their cell phone. Tell the truth, you're going to rob a bank and everything. All these clothes, you're going to take them off, you're going to get everything. You ain't going to have nothing on that can link you to nothing, right? You know, tell her, unless you're crazy, you're not going to go and rob a bank with your personal cell phone in your pocket. If you drop it, they just, oh, there's your brother there. Right? Why is all of the bombers of the Muslims, Charlie Hebdo and all of them in Paris, why do they leave a wide highway trail behind the follow leading to the Muslims? Because they're governmental agents paid by the government, paid by Saudi Arabia. Why is all the trouble in Africa? Why is all the children, the schoolgirls, why is Boko Haram? You know how much money it takes for you to survive as a group? Well, what Boko Haram, where they get any money in Nigeria? Saudi pay them to act a fool, cause trouble for everybody. So every country we have a bunch of idiots there causing trouble for all of us. And we ain't doing nothing about it. We got to wake up, dear believers. We're going to move toward a close. We're asking Allah to help us in this, because it's causing so much death and destruction. And why should the Muslims have to flee all the time? Why should we have to run away? Why should we have to hide? It's as though they prepare the place for us. Look, I will close with this. They have the war in Syria, right? They destabilize Libya. The people go to Libya first and then go to Europe, right? People gotta be desperate if they gotta stand up for hours just at attention almost, and the boat is so full, any boat go down, this hundreds of people die every day. Maybe it's to slow down a little bit. But if Gaddafi was there, crazy as he is, they couldn't have came to Libya. They didn't have that migration. The people in Syria would have to stay home or go somewhere else or stop the war. Who starts the wars? Who keeps the wars going? Who keeps everybody armed? Whether it's the Kurds or Daesh, don't make no difference who's fighting each other, they're all well armed. Who's making all of that money? We got to think about who is making all of that money, they believe. It is these criminals. So we ask Allah to help us. Oh Allah, we seek thy refuge from anxiety and grief. We seek thy refuge from lack of strength and laziness. We seek thy refuge from cowardice and niggardliness. We seek thy refuge from being overpowered by death and the oppression of men. O Allah, suffice us with what is lawful. Keep from us what is prohibited. With thy grace, make us free from one of what is exactly. Ameen.